mostly sane and reliable people have been involved in this flying saucer business.
For whatever reason, the big science journals don't want to publish their findings.
Dr. Reed is a famous investigator of psychic phenomena, but disbelief that such a shoe might interfere with my investigation.
The term flying saucer has become a household
There's
word.
a multitude of theories and explanations for the mysterious lights and unexplained phenomenon witnessed by millions of people around the world every year.
Since 1948, one publication has continued to bring news about paranormal phenomena and unexplained events. That magazine is Fate. And in that tradition of providing true reports of the strange and unknown, this is Fate Radio. And now, coming to you live from WGOG Digital Broadcasting, your host of Fate Radio, Todd Bates.
And a good evening, one and all. Welcome, Fate Radio Live, FateMagRadio.com, or, of course, Let'sTalkRadio.net. That's where you need to be. Chat rooms are open for all you folks that like to chat. It's real simple to get in there. Just follow the bouncing bubble, the lower, and to each one of those websites. Log in through Facebook, Twitter. As a guest, just get in there because you're going to have some amazing questions. We have got a phenomenal show planned here for you tonight. We're going to be talking about everything from animal communication all the way to aliens. There's a combo for you. There's a combo. And I want to get out a quick announcement. Those of you that didn't tune in last week, the newest issue of Fate Magazine is out. It should be in your hands by now. It should have arrived in your mailbox by now. Josephine Baker on the cover, issue number 732. Now, if you have not received a copy of that issue, please let us know. Todd Bates at FateMag.com. It's that simple. Let us know, and we'll get that issue out there to you. Also, all you e-subscribers, if you did not get your e-issue, please be honest. If you did not get your e-issue, go ahead and send me an email as well, Todd Bates at FateMag.com. We'll get that e-issue over there right to you. It's an amazing, amazing issue. One of the best ever, as a matter of fact. Yes. And you can subscribe to that if you guys haven't already. Just go to FateMag.com, click on the subscribe button, and it's that simple. Just follow the instructions, and there you go. Fate's coming right to your door. Now, our first guest, I've been waiting for this. I have been waiting for this. Josh Cohen, now, is an always learning animal communicator who created the website. I love this title. Speak Good Human. Remember that. Speak Good Human. To give other learners a free space to practice their innate, intuitive, and telepathic skills. Now, the site features more than 100 animals, dozens of how-tos and breakthrough tips and advice from leading professionals in the field. Now, Josh turned his mastery of written communication as a creative advertising writer for more than 25 years into a way for others to approach interspecies communication with outside-the-box thinking and a drive to find what specifically works for each of us. Welcome to Fate Radio, Josh. Great to have you.
Thank you, Todd. Great to be here.
I can't believe this. You know, speaking with animals, let's face it, we all have these pesky animals that, they jump up on us. They're always chomping at the bits for food. And we really don't think what's inside of their head. We don't know what they want. We can't communicate with them. It's almost as if we seem ignorant to the animal. I think animals are smarter, to be honest with you, but that's just my opinion. But with that being said, why did you switch from copywriting to animal communication? That's a massive career change.
Yeah, and to be honest, I haven't switched out completely. I still am a copywriter, but it's all that experience as a copywriter, as an advertising writer, that I realized, boy, this really makes sense. I'm really into animal communication, but teaching it in this way, the site that I've set up, I kept thinking about why it's so difficult for a lot of people to learn this stuff. And as a writer, a copywriter, an advertising writer who is always thinking, what does the consumer want to hear? What do I need to tell them to get them to say yes, or to get them to think of this or that? What do they want to hear? What are the benefits to them? And I realized that my thought pattern was the same in putting together this site. So I was constantly thinking from the learner's perspective. And that's how I ended up here. But I still am a writer, but this is a real passion of mine. It's from advertising communication to animal communication.
It's got to be. And I want to plug your site one more time. Speak Good Human. You guys can just Google that. You'll find it. But the actual website is talktoanimals.weebly.com. Talktoanimals.weebly.com. Now, that is the only animal communication practice site of its kind, Josh.
That is true. There are other practice groups, but nothing like this. This allows people to just go and explore on their own without the pressures of, let's say, a teacher or a group dynamic. These are all things that I sort of picked up on my own after taking a class, and I figured, there's a lot of things that work when you're taking a class, but there's a lot of things that don't. And so I just started building and building and building and building, and here we are, 125 animals later.
Wow.
And thousands of people from around the world are visiting and learning, and it's cool. And we're in the middle of this, everyone, not just us, these few thousand of people. We're in the middle of some kind of revolution of getting back to our roots and our ability to communicate in this way. It's not just an animal thing. It's way, way back. That's what we were born to do. And kids can do it a lot of times until the parents shut it off and say, you're crazy. But this is just something that we're all able to do. It's easier for some people, sure, but we can all do it. It just takes some work getting back into it and figuring out again how it's going to work specifically for you.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Let's get down to the nitty gritty here.
Sure.
How did you learn? When did you first develop that you could communicate with animals?
Well, I will have to say it was a long process. It felt like a long process, and it kind of actually was. And I think I started just like every person out there who is at all interested in this. I started exactly the same way, and that is thinking, this telepathy, that would be a cool thing to learn, wouldn't it?
Telepathy.
And then the next thought is, telepathy and psychic ability. Who wouldn't want that? It's cool. And then the next thought is, oh, wait a minute. I'll never be able to learn that. You have to be gifted with that, or you have to be born with it. And I'm not. I guess that's out the window, and I'll just read about it. So I put it on hold for a long time, even though I was always sort of felt connected to animals in a big way ever since I was a kid. A lot of people are.
So if you think about it, if you think about it, telepathy has to be the way to speak with them. You can't really understand a or a meow. You can't really understand that. So it's what they portray, what they send to your brain, I guess, and you interpret that as a signal, as maybe food, or I want to go outside, or hey, my litter box is full. Come here and help me out, guy. Are you getting those kinds of things?
Well, it kind of works that way, and I think it probably works a little differently for everyone, but it almost works in the opposite way, whereas I won't get a signal from the animal in that way. I'll hear it in either a voice or a feeling, it's like a feeling or a knowing.
Okay.
And it all just kind of shows up all at once, and you just kind of know, oh, that's what they want, or that's what they just said. And so it can work that way. So it's kind of on the animal side where something is getting translated. And from what one school of thought is that animals think in pictures. So when we talk to them, let's say you're just talking to your dog in a normal human way, in your brain, it's translating into pictures. So that's how they can pick up on exactly what you're saying, whereas they don't know English or they don't know the actual language, but they know pictures. And so it's translating for them. And the other way around, it's a similar way. There's something, people think that you can maybe start seeing things in your head, like if you're connected with a dog and with telepathy, and let's say you see a butterfly in your mind at the same time as the dog wants to go outside.
Okay.
You can kind of connect those two things, so the dog can actually communicate with you through those types of pictures once it starts to know what you associate those with.
I see. So it's not like the dog is laying there saying, hey, look, Josh, this old Roy dog food you're feeding me here, this is awful. Let's go with some pedigree. So I see the symbolization.
Yeah, well, it works with symbolization, but somehow it also works the way you just said. They can be sitting there saying that, and somehow wow. I'm serious. I have the most unbelievable conversations with these animals, and I know lots of people have, and they have the most incredible senses of humor and attitude, and I don't know how it comes across, but each animal that I speak to is different, and it has its own personality, and it comes across in a certain way. And they can change that, and we can change how we hear it, because we've done both. Where I would ask an animal, do you really sound like this? Because it was like in some comical way, and they said, yeah, to you I do, but I can change that, and you can too. And I've tried it before, and I kind of change what my perception of it, and yeah, they change along with it, but I still get the words.
Well, what about, we have a lot of people listening, and of course, 95% of them have pets. Can anyone communicate telepathically with animals, and does it require a special gift or talent?
No, it doesn't require a special gift, because I think we all have that. It's sort of a hardwired thing in us. However, it does take some people longer, because I think we are all hardwired in a different way. And so your path to learning how to communicate telepathically is your path. I couldn't tell you what it is. It could involve A, B, C, and D, whereas mine was A, Z, F, Q, R. And I'd be going all over the place trying to figure out how to communicate this way, but it's all my own path. So anyone can learn it. You just have to figure out what works for you. If you go to a class and they teach it a certain way, and you come out and you say, I still can't do it. Okay, maybe that wasn't the right way. Don't give up. Okay. Just take another class, or read some more books, or head over to my website and read some more stuff. That's the whole thing about my site, is it's opening up their minds to that there's more than just what you just learned. If it didn't work here, think of something else. Speaking of which, we have just a few minutes before break. I want to talk about your website and how it can help people. How can Speak Good Human, how can that help people? What kind of courses do you offer? What kind of education do you offer there for them? And it is free, by the way. Well, it's completely free. There's no registration or anything. I don't have any workshops or anything like that. I set it up specifically to support students and the teachers. So I'm not competing with anybody. If somebody takes a class somewhere and they want to get some extra practice in, they come to the website, and there's three different ways they can practice. There's lots of articles. There's how-to tips. There's blog posts. There's lots and lots and lots of stuff that they can just keep reading and exploring and building their skills. So if you're a complete beginner and you haven't even taken a class yet, sure, come by the site and start reading, and you can find out what is possible. And there's also a recommendations area where other students have recommended books and teachers and things like that. If you've taken a class, then by all means, come on by and start practicing. And you can get feedback directly from the animal's people about how your conversation went. You send in a conversation and it goes directly to them, and they're thrilled to get it, and they'll say, yeah, you actually got that right. It sounds just like my dog, and he does like gravy on his chicken, and he loves to destroy red balls, and all this stuff. It's great feedback. And if you're more experienced, you could still come by and practice. That's mostly what it's about, is practicing and then keeping the hope alive for all those people who are finding it difficult like I did.
Oh, sure. Everybody needs a refresher course from time to time. That's for sure. And so that's what you're recommending here is, let's say you have a beginner. Let's say, for example, they just went to their local shelter. They adopted a puppy. The puppy isn't housebroken. The puppy is rambunctious. The puppy chews up slippers and all of this. How could that beginner, that giving that new dog a home, Speak Good Human is a good place for them to start to teach the dog and communicate with the animal not to do these things, right?
Yes and no. And here's why. Because let's say that you could perfectly communicate with your animal. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean that all it means is they might understand what you're saying. They don't have to listen to you at all. So you could get the message perfectly clear to them. Don't tear up the carpet and don't pee in the corner and all this stuff. And they could just ignore you. So it's not mind control, and it's not, I'm the boss and you have to listen to me. It's simply opening up the lines of communication. And from my experience, they appreciate that. And there's a new respect that they give you. You bring home the puppy from the shelter, you may be able to get something, you may not, but keep working at it. And working. It may take years. I don't know. For you, it might take years. For me, it took years. For other people, right away. So just learning some basic techniques would help.
Yeah, it depends on the chemistry. It depends on, I guess, the person's demeanor, the way they treat the dog.
Yeah.
All that plays a key role. So you may bring home this new puppy thinking, oh, don't worry, Mom and Dad. I'm just going to go to Speak Good Human, and I'm going to get him potty trained. I'm going to get him this. He's going to be obedient. He's going to fetch the paper. He's going to get your slippers for you. It's not that way, right? It's just not that simple.
Yeah, it doesn't. It can work that way, but it's a step. You have to step in the right direction when you start to communicate. And what I always recommend is, okay, you may not be able to hear it in your head what the dog is saying, but at least start talking to the dog like the dog is a person. So instead of all the baby talk that a lot of people like to do, and it just sounds kind of juvenile. Mm-hmm. If you want to keep that, that's fine, but also throw in the direct talking. Just talk to them on a regular basis. And that's the first step. Yeah. But then the second step would be to start adding in answers. So if you don't actually hear them, start thinking, what would they say? If I say, okay, we're having some people over, when the doorbell rings, try to just remain calm and you'll get introduced to them as soon as everyone settles down. And if you don't hear anything, which is likely, then, make something up or think, what would my dog say at this point? And you could say, the dog is saying, okay, I'll try to do that, but I'm so full of energy and I'm so excited for these people are coming. I may not be able to do it, but I'll try. So eventually you might actually start listening and hear that, and you didn't make it up.
I am so guilty of that. So guilty of that.
What, the baby talk?
Yes, doing the whole goo goo,
Yeah.
My dog, I had a pit bull. I still have him, God rest his soul. And that was my thing. I would have little pet names for him, like Lumpy Dumpy and all this little stuff.
Yeah.
And they look at me like, what? What are you calling me that for? That's preposterous.
Have you ever switched around the words? So instead of real words, you just inserted something that you think, I'm going to try to fake them out and see if they really understand. And they reacted the same way because all they're doing is reacting to the energy in your voice and the tones.
They're reacting to a tone.
Yeah.
No, that makes perfect sense. Perfect sense. And what we're going to do is we're going to skip off here to a short break, of course, but don't worry. When we come back, we're going to be talking more with Josh and kind of giving away some tips and tricks and all kinds of good advice here. So definitely stay tuned. Join us in chat right there, letstalkradio.net, fatemagradio.com, either one of those locations. Twitter, Facebook as a guest. Just get your derrieres in there. We've got a lot of great stuff. We're going to be taking your questions. If you have a pet at home and you want to learn how to communicate with it, speak good human. That is what you need to Google. And that'll take you exactly where you need to go. It's that simple. But we'll answer those questions if you have any of those. Post them in chat in all capital letters. More Fate Radio when we come back. 25 minutes past the hour. Of course, you're listening to Fate Radio Live. I'm your host, Todd Bates. And this hour, we have none other than Josh Cohen. We're discussing animal communication. That is the beauty of this. And we're taking your questions from chat. Join us over there. letstalkradio.net, fatemag.com, fatemagradio.com. Either one of those locations will get you into the chat room. Facebook, Twitter. All you millennials, you all have that. My goodness, your smartphones are stuck to your faces. You've got to have it in there. So just punch it in and post your question. We all have pets. We all have parents that have pets. Let's learn how to communicate with them. Let's see what they want, what they don't want. That's exactly what we're discussing with Josh here. And we're taking your questions there. Please post them in all capital letters if you can. It'd be most appreciated. That way we can get them to our guests as soon as possible. But welcome back to Fate Radio, Josh. It's great to have you. And
thank you very much.
One of the things is, how is this awareness and belief the biggest gift we can give our kids? That's what I want to touch on now. How are kids involved?
Well, the kids already know this stuff, but I mean, how many times have you, I don't know if you've talked to people, I've talked to a whole bunch of people who have said, yeah, I used to talk to animals when I was a kid, or I used to hear voices or see ghosts or talk to fairies or angels or whatever, but I grew out of that or I blocked it out or whatever because it caused too many problems. There was a big disconnect between their experience and the experience that their parents wanted them to have, which was, we don't believe in any of this stuff. You didn't hear that. You didn't see that. we don't want to send you to a psychologist, so stop thinking it. You're just making it up. So they, and if they tell their friends, their friends might think, you're crazy too. So we stifle it down, and by the time we're adults, we are happily rid of that stuff. And now everybody's waking up and saying, dang, I wish I didn't do that. So they have to kind of get back into it. But a lot of the kids, it's innate. That's how we started, and we can hear those things, and we can talk to animals and plants and rocks and angels and anything else you can imagine. And as long as the parents can just support that and say, go for it, let's do it, then you might grow up and actually be a really awesome communicator.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't like Mr. Ed, people. This isn't like, that's not a carrot, Wilbur. This isn't like Mr. Ed here. This is different. This is completely different. Now, how can you talk with animals from across the world who aren't familiar with your native language? What about that, Josh?
I don't know if anyone can answer that, but it works. It's this translation system that the universe has that apparently,
like an energy.
Either it's it's either energy, or using the pictures and using this translation system. So your brain is taking the words and putting it into pictures, and then on the other end, it's taking the pictures and putting it into words into their head. And it doesn't matter. A dog from Norway is going to be used to talking in a different language, or at least listening to the people in Norway in that language. I can talk to that dog just in English, and it might sound like a Norwegian accent, or it might just sound like the dog in some way. But now, it works. I don't know how it works, but it works.
Now, can you do deceased animals, or do they have to be alive, or?
Anybody can do any of those things. If you can talk to an animal, let's say that you're just a psychic medium and you talk to spirits, or any person who's getting tuned into this stuff can talk to anything. You can talk to a rock, or the river, or a tree, or an animal, or a deceased person, or anything like that. It's all the same.
Okay, because I have a personal question here for you.
Sure.
And I hope you don't mind being put on the spot here. But this cat has been plaguing me for several years. It's kind of a mean cat. The kind of cat where you go to give it some loving, and it just kind of gnaws at your arm like a little chihuahua. Just kind of goes at you. Now, the cat's name is Sarah. What is wrong with the cat? Can you tell what's wrong with the cat? Is it lacking something? Is it just mean by nature?
It probably wants something. This is not me connecting with the cat right now, because unfortunately I can't do that on the spot, and I wish I could.
No, that's fine.
But I'm learning. But it likely is something that it's trying to get your attention for some reason, or you're doing something that it doesn't like. And a lot of cats, they are that way. They're very particular about what they like. So, yeah, you're probably at fault, but not in a bad way. It's just something, and I could try to connect with the cat later on in my downtime. I can probably connect and find out, so we can talk further.
Because if you think about it, Josh, animals, they know how to manipulate us humans. They know it's almost as if they know what to do to get what they want. Another example is a chihuahua. Now, these chihuahuas, they're cute, they're cuddly, they fit in your purse or your back pocket, some of them. But these are some vicious animals. These are some animals that will turn on a dime and attack your ankle. Now, I used to watch a chihuahua, and the chihuahua was locked in the basement during the day, so obviously it was confined. It was a little cranky. Well, this Chihuahua used me to go down the stairs, lift up the gate. The Chihuahua came upstairs, started giving me kisses and rubbing around my leg, kisses and kisses and kisses. Then I went to go get its toy ring to play with it. It attacked me like no end. I mean, this thing it just went right at my ankle and just tore me to pieces. Why? Was it because it was done with me?
Maybe it didn't want you touching his toy.
You think it could have been the toy?
Well, if that was when it happened, you picked it up and it started after you, maybe you weren't supposed to be touching the toy.
That could be the toy. Okay.
The thing is, animals are really direct. They typically aren't manipulative. It's the humans who need to get on board and start being more aware. But when they are more aware, the communication is fairly direct, and it might seem like something else, but it's usually a very direct thing. So I can't tell you in this case what it might be, but it likely was something direct, like, hey, I don't let anyone touch that toy, and you're trying to take it from me, so I'm going to get you.
That makes sense. That makes sense. And thank you. You've actually lifted some pressure off of my shoulders, because I had no idea why that thing attacked me after I set it free. Now I know. Now I know. So yeah.
It's humans who are very complicated. The animals are simple. Well, so you put all your stuff on that dog and on that situation, thinking it might have had to been something more complicated than that, and it probably wasn't.
Well, before we get into this 28-day animal communication practice challenge, this sounds awesome. How does someone learn to communicate with animals? I mean, do they need special skills? How do they learn?
Well, probably if you're somebody who learns from a demonstration or from others, then taking a class would be for you. And you can look locally. There's lots of classes, usually within a couple hours at least from anyone. There's classes, and then there's lots of them online, and online works pretty well too. But if you don't like a group situation, which those are, then try books. Start with that, and you may have an affinity for this stuff, and you really pick it up fast, and you're good as gold. But if that's hard for you, also, you might just need to just keep exploring different ways, because there's lots of different methods out there. There's lots of audio CDs, and there's videos and all sorts of stuff that you can turn to if it's not working for you.
Yeah, books. I mean, I'll probably wait for the movie or some kind of documentary. Books, I haven't got past the pop-up book thing. I'm not the best reader.
Okay.
But
then online video or an online class, like a live class. The class I took was 15 weeks. That was the only class I took so far, and it was practice 1 week and instruction on the opposite week for 15 weeks. And it was a group setting where everyone would call in from all around the world. And I can say that it was a great class, and I did not come out of there knowing how to talk to animals.
Good for you.
Unfortunately.
Good for you.
No,
I want to take one of these classes. I definitely want to take one of these classes. I've been around your website. I mean, it's an amazing website. Very well put together. Very well put together. Easy to navigate. And, of course, that link's being posted right there in the chat room as well, folks. So definitely click on it. What do you feel, which animals are the best to communicate with? Are there some that are dense, some that are smarter than others? Which ones are the best ones to communicate with?
I don't know that there is a best one. I'll say wild animals can tend to be a little more difficult because they sometimes don't know why you might be contacting them, and why, they don't have the same mindset. They're not domesticated. They don't understand humans. They may not have any experience at all. But that's only some of them. Others are so well developed, and I don't know, they have a very high view of things. But domestic animals, go with the ones like a dog or a cat to start, because they're bred to be with humans for all these years, and so they're just used to that, and they live with people, they understand people, and they will understand you. And a lot of them are kind of just waiting for you to get on board and do this. They are waiting. Some, like my own dog, it's strange because I have had quite a few conversations with her. And when I finally learned how to do this, I was thinking, wow, this is going to be great. The behavioral issues will go away and we'll have a closer relationship. Well, she just gave me a message not too long ago saying, hey, all this is great and we do have a great relationship, but I just want to be a dog. I don't want to be some master teacher to show you the way. I don't want to have all these expectations on me. I just want to be a dog. And animals, that's their choice. Some of them do, and some of them are the teachers.
Which makes
interesting.
No, and that makes complete sense, because you have some dogs that like to keep to themselves. They're lovable, but they like to go off in their own den or corner and just kind of lay there like lumps.
Yeah.
But then you have other dogs that are, maybe it depends on the breed. I don't know. Some that jump up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. And, they drive you nuts. So it's important for those wanting to adopt an animal to find the right one for them, because every dog matches its owner, right? It's
Yeah, you definitely have to, but those are all physical things. So, the right disposition and, energy levels, all that stuff. Yes, definitely match that up with your own lifestyle. Then you're good. But inside, in the animal's head, that's a whole different thing. The dog who likes to sleep or is the lump in the corner, he may be a brilliant thinker and have lots of wisdom, like an old soul who just is here to teach certain things and can teach a lot. So it's not always, you don't always know what's on the inside. It doesn't represent what's on the outside for sure.
Okay. Well, let me ask this before we have to take off here for a minute. I'm curious about this. You have an animal. Let's say he's a German Shepherd, for example, and you're in the room with a German Shepherd. You're in there by yourself. The German Shepherd is in the prone position, just kind of laying there, chilling out, and you're sitting Indian style, which I don't know if that's politically correct these days, but. Anyway,
cross-legged,
yeah, cross-legged. There we go. Thank you. You're sitting that way. What are some ways? What does it feel like to communicate with that animal? What are some things that you see?
Yeah, that's a great question, because I've tried to see what the animal does when you're talking to him like that, and I honestly don't see any difference. It doesn't look like they're having a conversation with anybody. And it just looks like they're lying there like they usually are. So it's a whole different thing. I don't know why, but you just won't know what they're saying. You just won't know. They won't perk their ears up. They won't look at you. Some might, but I haven't seen it.
Okay. No, that answers a lot of questions. So sometimes they just sit there and do their thing. They just be dogs. Nothing wrong with that.
And on your side, let's say you're the one telepathing and communicating. You might hear in your head something that sounds exactly like your own voice talking to you. And you're wondering, well, am I really hearing this?
Bingo.
Yeah.
Bingo. Did I just say that out loud? Yeah, these are things, absolutely. And that is how I feel we are just as close to animals. We're all the same species. We all have brains. Some are smaller than others, but yet are they? That's the thing. Maybe they have a smaller brain because they don't have to use as much of it.
Right.
It's all instinct. And this is amazing. This is fascinating. And we're going to skip off here. Don't worry. We come back. What we're going to do is talk about a challenge. And this is going to be a lot of fun. The 28-day Animal Communication Practice Challenge. All of that's coming up. Stay tuned. Fate Radio. Let'sTalkRadio.net. Join us in chat. Chat room is open. We'll see you in a few.
Absolutely, positively has to be the best. WGOG DB Clearwater. Let's talk.
47-ish past the hour. Fate Radio Live. Let'sTalkRadio.net. That's where you need to be, folks. Get into chat. Come on. It's a lot of fun over there. We got some great people in there. Let's give some quick shout-outs in chat. We've got Ariel. We've got Bev, Megan, and Wendy is in chat. Keep them coming. Keep them coming in there. It's real simple. Facebook, Twitter. Just use your little smartphone there and hit the Facebook button and get in there. It's real simple. Post your questions in all capital letters. We're talking with Josh Cohen. Wow. We're learning how to communicate with animals, and that sometimes they have things to say, sometimes they don't. That's the beauty of it. But as promised, what we're going to be discussing, and I know this got over recently, and that's okay, but there's going to be a couple more of them, or there's going to be another one here this year. But the 28-day Animal Communication Practice Challenge. I'm curious about this, Josh. What is it?
Well, this is the fourth one. We just ran it in February. It was all February. It's pretty much a way to motivate people to either keep going or get back into it or make it a habit or conquer their fears. Whatever you're facing at this point, just keep moving, keep going on your path to animal communication. And that's what I was facing. It was a few years ago. And I was in such a rut with trying to learn this stuff, and I just wasn't happening. And I had to take a big, long break, and I was so frustrated. And I finally just said, you know what? I'm going to do a challenge and put it out there and see if that's going to motivate anybody else, because it might motivate me. Uh-huh. And I did it. So it was 30 days. I think it was in August that I started it that year. And I was thinking, seriously, this was my plan. I was thinking, I'm going to blog about this. I'm going to have an entry every day. And probably what's going to happen is I'm going to be writing, I struggled today and I didn't get it, but I'm still going. I was going to be the cheerleader along with everybody else who wasn't getting it yet. And man, was I wrong. I still was the cheerleader, but this challenge, the idea of the challenge just kind of blew open the doors for me. And I started having these incredible conversations with animals. And I have no idea why or what, but it started for me. And so I just thought, man, if that's doing it for me, let's keep this moving, keep it going. And people love it.
Well, it's your calling. It's definitely your calling. And that's something you can't steer away from. You have to follow your passion. This is your passion. Yes. And, I know you have other passions and other things that you do, but this is something that you are just damn good at. And
Thank you.
You teach people for free how to communicate with their pets. Speak Good Human. Google it, folks. It's that simple. Just Google it. Your talkwithanimals.weebly.com. Either one of those areas will get you where you need to be, and you just may screw up and learn something. And that is what is important, because we all want to know what our pets are thinking. Because we're sitting on the couch watching a movie. The dog's laying in the corner. Does the dog like the movie? Does it know what a movie is? Does it want more popcorn? Things like that. The little things on how you can communicate with your animal. It's important.
I'm pretty sure you don't need to ask them if they want more popcorn. That's a given.
Yeah, they're like bottomless pits. But that's the beauty of it. And Josh, I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to come on here tonight. And the mic is yours. What I normally do is hand the mic over to the guest. I want you to promote your website, anything you have coming up. The mic is yours. Have at it, my friend.
Okay, well, you guys all pretty much heard what we do, which is it's a free website, and cruise over there and check it out. If you haven't taken a class yet, or you don't really know what this is about, that's fine. The website's perfect for you to get your feet wet. Just kind of look around and even try some of the practice areas on there. You can go on and pick an animal and see what comes to you, and you might be surprised. And let me say, if you have a child in your house, get them involved too, because my experience is that kids are just straightforward, just like animals are. They're straightforward talkers. And we have all these fears as adults and problems with confidence and doubt, and all this stuff plays into it. Kids don't have that yet. And they can go and talk to an animal and have a conversation that's very matter of fact. And they of course they say, yes, that's what happened. I talked to them and this is what they said. If we were to do it, we would go, well, I think I heard this, but how could that be true? I probably heard wrong, or I didn't get it. I mean, it's on and on and on. We constantly doubted each other. But if you bring in a kid, they'll show you the ropes. And then you'll have a partner in this, somebody really good to show you. And let me also tell you, the goal, yes, is awesome to be talking to your own animal at home. Start with somebody else's animal, though, because there's too much pressure. You already know your animal really well, and your mind is going to start getting involved and messing with you. So start with somebody else's animal who you don't really know very well. And that's why the site is so great. There's 125 animals on there. You choose one that feels right to you. You don't know anything about that animal. Just talk to them and see what you get, and believe what you get. That's the next thing. Believe it. And just keep going. We have these practice challenges twice a year, February and August. And it's just a way to practice something every day. It could be reading an article or reading some tips or practicing along. If you follow along on our Facebook page, you'll get tips every single day during the challenge, and practice animals and lots of cheerleading and other people you can interact with. You can do it. I know you can.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know what else to say other than search for some local workshops as well. Some people, like I said, work really well in a one-on-one situation or in person, something like that. But if you're an introvert and that's not for you, or you don't like the group situation, I understand. Go for something online. There's lots of them online.
There's a lot of these all over the place, and if some of you want to get a pet dragon, go get a pet dragon. See if you can talk to that. I mean, there's all kinds of things you can do, but I tell you what, talking with pets, and I like how you set that example, that either, it's best to start by speaking with someone else's animal, then your own. Then you kind of work your way back into that. I like that.
Yes.
I like that.
Yeah, it's true, because it can be very frustrating if that's your first step is to talk to your animal, and you might make up an answer that you get back because you know your animal really well, and you think, oh, maybe that's what they said, but then you're going to start doubting yourself because you think, well, I know my animal so well, so that's why I got the answer. Just put a hold on that and talk with somebody else. And I tell you, after every conversation I have with an animal, I sit there and think, whoa, did that just happen? Did I actually just have this incredible conversation? And I've had some really wild conversations. And I couldn't make this stuff up. Even from my creative writing background, I cannot make this stuff up.
No, you can't.
So it's got to be real.
You can't. Go talk to the neighbor's dog. See why he's crapping on your lawn. All that stuff.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Seriously, that's a perfect idea.
Do these things, and maybe it has some kind of vengeance against you, and maybe you can make friends and make amends. That's what it's about. Communication is key. And Josh, thank you so much for coming on here tonight. It has been an amazing interview, and of course, we are definitely going to have you back for more because you're a wealth of information, and you've helped a lot of people just now. Helped a lot of people. So thank you so much, and you have a great week, my friend.
Thank you. You too.
Josh Cohen, everybody. Wow. Check out his website. Speak